Good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District Board of Directors, City as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority Board of Directors, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority Board of Library Trustees, and the Moreno Valley Community Foundation Board of Directors. The City Council receives a separate stipend from the Community Services District if any CSD business is conducted at the meeting. I now call this meeting to order on August 6, 2024 at 6:06 p.m. And we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Delgado. And please remain standing for the invocation given by Pastor Dave Carlson of Moreno Valley Assembly.
Please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening. Let us pray. Lord, we're so thankful that we can come and gather tonight. Lord, I thank you for those powerful words upon this wall. In God we trust. And so we come to the one that we can trust upon, the one that is reliable, the one that is truth and right. And so we thank you for that. And Lord, I thank you for this incredible, great report from the State of Our City celebration earlier this week. What an incredible time last week that we had to celebrate the good things that you're doing in the city, the way that you supply, the way that you've put people in place, the good thing the good things that are going on for the citizens of this city. So Lord, we continue to pray that we will continue in a direction that is so good and encouraging for our citizens. Pray that you would keep them safe. We thank you for our law enforcement and our first responders. Lord, that you would bless them and guide them. For those who are in leadership, who are management here at the city, and our elected officials, Lord, continue to give them wisdom for the citizens of our city. And we thank you for this opportunity. Bless this meeting tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Very much, Pastor. Appreciate you being here with us this evening. That brings us now to item D, which is a roll call. Madam Clerk, I'll turn it over to you.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Delgado.
Here, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard. Here. And Mayor Cabrera.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll go ahead and skip over motions to excuse absences. And item F, staff introductions, please.
Patty Rodriguez, Manager of the Office of the Mayor and City Council, City Clerk.
Paul Radvica, Deputy City Clerk.
Stephen Quintanilla, City Attorney.
Mike Lee, City Manager.
Brian Mohan, Assistant City Manager over Administration.
John Kelleher, Assistant City Manager over Development.
Melissa Walker, Director of Public Works.
Jeremy Bubnick, Director of Parks and Community Services.
Robert Cardenas, Human Resources Director.
Cruz Esparza, Director, Economic Development and Housing.
Tim Browse for Captain Sarah Mack, Chief of Police.
And Jesse Park, Fire Chief.
Thank you very much, staff. It's always a pleasure to be here. I hope you all had a good summer. That brings us to item G, which is approval of order of the agenda. And I'm seeking a motion and a second.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. If we could please call for the vote. And that passes unanimously. Brings us next to item H, which is public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. And please be advised that the city is currently offering Spanish translation services. If anyone is interested in this service, please feel free to let the city clerk know. La ciudad actualmente ofrece servicios de traducción al español. Si alguien está interesado, por favor, nos avisan. Before we move on to public comments, I'd like to remind everyone to direct their comments to the City Council. For comments on items on tonight's agenda, each speaker will have a total of 3 minutes to comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on any non-agenda items?
We do, Mayor. The first three speakers are Ken Lim, followed by James Armour, followed by Fred Benuelos.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is my husband and I. We came here for
unfair for give me a ticket because I'm not do nothing, on the July 4th. My tenant, they stay there, they play firework, and the city, law enforcement, code enforcement, they video them and they said they do, and they don't give a ticket for them. They give ticket to me for $2,000, and I came in the city 2 times for I say, okay, I'm not do that. I not live over there. So my tenant lived over there. That name. So you need to turn that name to their people. It's not me. So they don't want to do it, and I want to talk with like senior supervisor or something, and they refuse me. They say, oh, they go to lunch, and I wait for lunch, and after that they say, oh, they go to a meeting. So and after next week I bring my tenant to come City Hall here too. I said, this that she live there, so you need to turn the ticket to them. It's not to me.
Yeah, we have a property here in town that rented out, and so on July 4th, they got citation. We just sent it to him as a property owner, but we didn't live in that house. We that's just a property, a rental property, and we didn't do any violation. And the tenant that lived there, they might do, and we don't know. So that's why we came to the city hall, talk about that, the citation. And they refused to talk to us, and we were told that we are liable for it. We are responsible for their action. And I said, why? It's not fair, because we didn't do anything illegal, and we don't live in that house. We just rented out the house. And this is not right, and it's not fair for us as the property owner.
Yeah, and they display, the firework, that's a danger. If they burn somebody's house or they blow somebody's face, so I'm liable too or no? If, because the ticket they send to me, I have to pay.
And they refused for us to view the video, because we were told that they have videotape.
They have to pay
first. We were told that we have to pay $2,000 in order to view the video. And we don't know if the tenant did the firework or not, and that's unfair also. So we already sent out the check for $2,000. They already cash the check, yeah. So that's why we're here to fight for it. I mean, it's not right, and we want you as.
Thank you very much. The 3 minutes is up, but we will make sure one of our staff will get your contact information so we can follow up with you. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are James Armour, followed by Fred Benuelos and Bob Palomares.
Right. Good evening, City Council, Mayor Pro Tem. We came today to bring an impact report. I got a copy for everybody. And so we just wanted to share the amazing things we've been doing this summer. Again, I want to describe what we've been doing, the homeless outreach. We've been taking case management calls daily, and we've been doing our community resource event. So let's share some data. Overall, from January until now, we've housed 29 individuals. So we're really proud of that. Homeless individuals served so far is 262, families served 116. Overall, to this date, we have served 830 individuals. Individuals served during our outreach initiatives is 193. We provided 117 ID vouchers, 14 substance use intake referrals, 56 mental health referrals, 42 birth certificate vouchers, which is very important to get Medi-Cal. We distributed 689 Narcan, so we've been putting in work. Strengths. We successfully connected individuals with Social Security income to room and boards facilities, aiding their transition off the streets. So we figured out that if we can find homeless individuals who are on SSI, who are eligible for SSI, that's a great way to get them off the streets by linking them to a board in care. And then we have established some new partnerships with room and boards, like Dee Dee's Room and Board in Hemet. She's amazing. She's been helping us out big time. Riverside Medical Clinic, Neighborhood Health Care. We have IHP, who's giving us Moreno Valley referrals, so that is amazing. Starting Over Inc. is giving us Moreno Valley referrals. And then we also have the DPSS mobile unit coming to our monthly resource event. So it's been amazing. And our volunteer base has grown by 12 additional individuals. So we're about at 52 volunteers currently. Areas for improvement, of course, we need help with expanding our staff for the homeless outreach and the case management, which is critical and currently underway. So we're still trying to find people to help us with that. But we're taking calls every single day. And concerns, following up with individuals on the streets is challenging due to the lack of reliable contact methods such as phones. They're often not at the same location when we return for a follow-up. And then emergency shelters. It's very difficult to get people into emergency shelters. It's always overcrowded or they need an ID. So that's always a struggle. So our success so far has been with SSI. Needs assistance in assessing social services for individuals, food support for families. Families are in dire need of food out here. We're getting a large increase in inquiries for rental assistance. So people are getting evictions out here and they're asking us to help. But everybody gets a copy. It's 12 pages. So
Thank you.
The next three speakers are Fred Benuelos, followed by Bob Palomares, followed by Robin Waters.
Hello, everybody. On a humorous note, Ms. Patty Rodriguez, I'm just wondering how many times you said yes on the 4th of July parade. But on a serious note, we are getting taxed to death. And I want to go on record that I don't support any new school bonds or the 1%, the 1 cent sales tax. We keep on electing people that are not making Moreno Valley first. Some of you support Roth, Medina, and Cervantes. They voted for the gas tax and higher car registration fees, and they need to spend our money responsibly. We are on a budget deficit, but our money is being used on green paint and the Juan Batista trail. Last I checked, no one is using the bike lanes. And when I saw the post of pictures with you at the Juan Batista Trail, I was disappointed because I'm like, why are we using that money for that? That money is supposed to be used for fixing our roads. Let's talk about the election. I'm supporting Ron Edwards for AD 60 and not Corey Jackson. I'm supporting Cynthia Navarro for Senate District 31, not Sabrina Cervantes. And very important, I wish people would get educated on yes on 36. That's going to reform Prop 47. Please be educated on it. Myself, Roy, we have channels, Moreno Valley First, IE Newswire, and we're going to be putting information out there on why we need to pass 36. All right, thank you guys.
The next three speakers are Bob Palomares, followed by Robin Waters and Chris Baca.
Good evening, Council. I would like to salute our first responders. Jesse, I know you've been busy, busy, busy. Thank you. Ed, thank you for taking care of that problem up there in Sunnymead Ranch. That paint that was on the street. There's a group up there of some good citizens up there that kind of keep an eye on things, and they wanted to take it on their own to do it. They said, we'll get some carburetor cleaner. And I said, let me call Ed. And you took care of it, and they were all posting saying thank you, tell Ed thanks. So great job. Thank you, Ed. And Mr. James Amore, every time he comes up here, I notice he does a great job. He's always prepared. I've noticed that, so good job there. Anyway, the Planning Commission just okayed that Holiday Inn on Redlands Boulevard, south of the 60, east of Redlands Boulevard. And great project. I'm glad, they put it in there. Something has to go on there. But one of the planning commissioners, Mr. DeJournay, he had told the developer, you know, that a lot of people that are going from Loma Linda to the hospital back and forth. And then there's families that go to the hospitals that are from other counties or other areas, and they have nowhere to stay. So he was asking him, you know, perhaps you can give them a discount, you know, when it's built, if there's people that don't have a place that are there for days maybe. And he said, you know, we'll consider that. So I kind of thought that was great for Mr. DeJournay to, you know, have that. And it was just a good thing, so I thought it was good. Thank you.
The next two speakers, Robin Waters, followed by Chris Baca.
You can move the microphone if you need to.
I've never done this before, so I brought a folder if you guys want to look at it. And I actually am going to read this if you don't mind. It's a lot easier because I don't speak very well. My name is Robin Waters. I live on the east side of Moreno Valley. Very rural out there. Pretty much we have all like 1 acre lots out there. And a lot of different horse properties and stuff. This property right across the street from me is all pretty much weeds and grown up. I called the fire marshal on the 8th of July and talked to them about possibly having it abated. And then I contacted them again on the 17th. I was told that the landowner had been given notice on the 8th and that they'd been given 10 days to do an abatement. So on the 18th, their time would have been up. The person that I talked to told me that after that, the city would be doing the abatement for them if it hadn't been done. So the day that I wrote this letter was the 29th. So I called fire protection again and was told that they would be doing a reinspection on August 5th. And after that had been done, they were going to do a renotice of the landowner, and they would be giving another 10 days, and it's called due process. Well, out in that area, we have dune buggies, quads, and all kinds of stuff that go through that property almost every night, and they ride out in the hills. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with quads, dune buggies, but they have spark plugs, and they spark, and they have hot parts that go through that field every night. And so I'm concerned that one of those things is going to spark and light that field on fire. It's 12 acres, or just over 12 acres. It's for sale. So I told her that we should be considering the fact that, those dry fields, we're going to wind up, I don't want it to be a statistic like Paradise up north and wind up burning the whole city of Moreno Valley down. And I told her, where does my due process come in when that field catches on fire and then my house catches on fire and the whole neighborhood burns down? While the homeowner's waiting for their due process. So on the morning of July 30th, I received a call back from Steve Gonzalez, the assistant fire marshal, and he reiterated what I was told the day before, and told me that March 18th the property had passed and that April 5th it didn't pass, and gave me a couple other dates. Confirmed that I had called on July 8th and told me that the notice, because it takes time for the notices to get prepared, that the notice had not been sent out until the 25th of July. And then the 29th they were doing another inspection, and then August 5th they were doing another inspection. And so it took 13 business days for this guy to get.
Thank you, Ms. Waters. The 3 minutes is up, but our fire chief is going to talk to you, so we make sure to follow up on that and get that addressed. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
The next three speakers are Christopher Baca, followed by Luis Palomares, followed by Joe Teague.
Good evening. Good evening, Community Council and staff. I'm here on behalf of myself, and my comments are my own and not influenced by anybody else. First of all, I want to commend Commissioner Dave Sykes on his views on the recently approved project, and that's like a big turnaround for our community when people begin to see, think, turn around and see how projects like these benefit the city overall and not just one small little community of NIMBYs. But I believe that was, the beginning of the turnaround as far as development is concerned. I mean, the city's half not built out. There's still half of it to be built. And all these lawsuits for minor things, and all they do is delay. On the other hand, as far as our sheriff is concerned, I know the river trail, the bike trail is not part of Moreno Valley, but I do the bike trails, and the San Bautista Trail is, really great. And, I'm really glad our city got that award. And it's not being used too much at this time, but I think in the future, little by little, people will start using that a little more. I'm seeing a lot more activity in the past years with cyclists on Lake Paris and the thing. But what I was referring to the sheriffs is there needs to be some type of handling of the ATVs. You got these kids. I got hit by a kid on an ATV that didn't know it was on reverse, and he took off, and I flipped 3 times on my bicycle. And it's very dangerous, but the fire thing is pretty bad. On the final note is, where's our city clerk? I got a little complaint, and it's just that I am used to going to the ROV or wherever to see who has pulled papers to run for office. And I think our city should be more transparent as far as letting the community know what's going on with the local elections. That's why you're running local elections, and you have a commitment to transparency. And last I seen, there is no mention of any candidates or anything going on as far as our local elections other than, the process. So I think that's a little unfair. Maybe the county should take over the handling of elections if it's too much. But we really need to have more transparency. Thank you very much.
The next 2 speakers are Luis Palomares, followed by Joe Teague.
Wow. Luis Palomares, community activist. I just want to say about the firemen and all the fires here in Riverside County and surrounding counties also. Pray for our firemen, pray for our first responders, and pray for the people that have lost their houses. I can't even imagine. It just, it's horrific. Okay, and then on another note, as far as we're talking about a tax, penny, just a penny. It's going to, bring $30 million. What are we going to do with these $30 million? We are penny and diming us to death, because it's not just that one. It's a lot of them. It's, wow, let me see here. And I'm going to talk about it later also, Mayor, so you'll know. We got the 30-year tax penny thing. Okay. Our food and our gas is high already. I mean, when we go to the store, we're only getting half of what we used to get, our gas tanks, but they're going to throw another penny on it. And what is this penny for? I know the last time you tried to pass it, something was wrong in the paperwork, so they had to send it back, and here we go again. But, it's just too much. Penny, it makes a difference. We got utility tax that they were going to just do for a little while, but it's still going strong. I pay $1,000 in utilities. Well, that's $100 a month on that one alone, probably. And then we got the college tax. There's our bond. We have that one. Now we're going to do another bond. So we're going to pay on that also. Then we got the Measure A bond. Measure A bond came out in 2004. Now, they're running out, so they want to extend that bond for another $240 million on your tax. On our taxes, we all own houses, I believe, or rent them. Our renters are even going to pay because, they're going to go up on the rents. Now we got the 2 college ones. Then we got Measure M1, $398 million later. We're still paying for that bond. And now they want to extend. That was in 2014. So what is this every 10 years? 204, 214, and 224. It's ridiculous the way they're just charging us and taxing us to death here. As far as, I went to the state of the city. It wasn't even like it used to be. What world are we in? There's people from every culture and every race in there and every color. And, we have mariachis coming in and drums in the back. That's for the 4th of July. Or the Cinco de Mayo or all that stuff. or the grito. It's not for this. And for the Juneteenth thing, it's not for the state of the city. I got a lot of calls, and a lot of people were offended. Who put on that show? And we got our mayor walking in and his big entourage like he's a star of the show there. I don't get it anymore. What city are we living in, Mayor? This is your personal agenda. You're appeasing your base and your lobbyers, and that's where it's at. That's where it's at. I'm going to talk about this again. This is all the stuff I'm getting in the mail, and plus the stuff I threw out.
Thank you.
The next two speakers are Joe Teague, followed by Roy Bleckert.
Good evening, folks. You've seen me up here before. My complaint is code compliance, and our police department, they're not writing up tickets for the vagrants that are in our flood controls. The flood controls are being swamped with all kind of garbage and fecal matter from them. And they need to be written up with citations, no fooling around about it. And then the code compliance, I've been in this little valley since 1952. And I'm grandfathered in. I've had code compliance officers. Every one of them has something different. Even Tim over here knows that I have some green lawns and all around me. Nothing but dead grass, trash cans in other people's property. I've been singled out because I have told them to keep off my property. They do not like that. You people are getting into a hell of a big lawsuit by me if they don't lay off of me. I get letters and letters and letters from them about citations. They're illegal, I'm telling you. And then yesterday, one of my tenants came over and talked to me, and they said, "Joe, did you get my hose and garden tools?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, they're gone." It's these dadgum vagrants that's going up and down the canals, and the homeless. You see them with their backpacks on and pushing shopping carts that they've stolen from some grocery store. Something has to be done. And some of my neighbors talked to me about a recall here. I told them no, I'd like for the city to spend more time and money making people register to go camping here in town. And there are facilities close by for people to camp. They don't have to camp all over town and all over our sidewalks and our flood control channels. I'd like for you people to do something about it. I thank you very much.
And our last speaker is Roy Bleckert.
Any day, any of you would love to have a discussion on Baca versus MVUSD, of the Brown Act, of our First Amendment right to free political speech, or you want to test my ability and knowledge of how the rules and procedures work. Now, if you would do this to me, what chance do you think the average person that comes up here or lives in the city has a chance at it? Just like the first speaker that came up. If you're going to hold them responsible, then give them the police power to do it. They have no police power to enforce it on somebody else. You do. You had police power to put people under oath for the stuff that was going on in the city, and you refused to do it. Do you think that gives the average person the confidence in your ability, in your words of transparency and accountability that seem to go flying all over the place. Again, I love to play, and I've invited every one of you to come on into the playground. So far, you've refused. It's heartbreaking to hear the people that come up here with the concerns that they do. And it seems like the inaction all across the board. I think that's why you see the frustration, the concern. And if every one of you was really on the unity or whatever kick buzzword that's been going around, then let's put it into practice. Because 98.7% of the time, it doesn't. And that's why you see what you see.
Mayor, that concludes all public comments on items not on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So that will go ahead and bring us the next item on the agenda. There we go. That is the joint consent calendars. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We're going to go ahead and move into that item. Before we do, ask my fellow council members if there are any items that you wish to remove from the consent calendar for any separate action. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments for consent calendar items?
No public comments, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll go ahead and move into entertaining a motion from the council to approve the joint consent calendars.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Please call for the vote. And that passes unanimously with 4 yeses. That brings us next to item K, since we don't have any public hearings on item J. And for item K, we have K1, which is Local Moreno Valley Essential Services Reauthorization Measure. And we'll start off with a report from our city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as you may recall, in 2021, the voters approved a 1% sales tax, and that was referred to as Measure G. But unfortunately, since we have to contract with the state, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, to administer the tax, unfortunately, they refused to do it since they believe the sales tax should have been referenced as a transaction and use sales tax instead of a Bradley Burns Uniform Local and Sales and Use Tax, both of which are sales taxes. So although we believe that the measure is legal and was legal, the party we need to contract with at the state to administer it does not. So in a nutshell, instead of engaging in lengthy and expensive litigation over this issue, it's being recommended that the city council simply ask the voters to reconsider the 1 cent sales tax at the November election. And this time, we'll label it as requested by the state, which is still a 1% sales tax. And so that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Attorney. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into any council questions of staff. And I think we have some questions from Councilmember Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, for that brief yet powerful explanation of why this is going on. Just to confirm, this was already passed by the voters?
Correct.
What's that?
Correct.
Yeah. and we're just putting it back on the ballot.
As a
Okay.
reauthorization.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from the council? I don't see any. So with that, we'll go ahead and move into the public testimony portion of this item. Do we have any requests to speak on this item, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have, the first speaker is Darrell Terrell.
Hi, my name is Darrell Terrell. I'm not speaking as a planning commission, but as for myself. You know, I sit here and I think about taxes myself. I'm speaking for myself, not representing the commission, just Darrell Terrell, who lived in Moreno Valley for 36 years. And I've seen how the utility tax has divided the city. But every time I've seen these taxes, because we already tax heavily in every level of government, we have inflation up to Kazuzu, but also I think we should look at other ways than raising taxes. Because I came here, I've been going to this council meeting for 30 years, and I've been saying over the last 30 years that we should look at a different way. And one of the different ways we should look at is budgeting for outcome, better known as priority-based budgeting. Priority spending is a better approach. It makes budget decisions and allocate funds based on the needs of the community. This city is based on people who work every day, whose rent burden, and they paying, like I said, taxes on everything. And it makes budget decisions and allocates funds based on the needs, again, of the community. And priority-based budgeting emphasizes working with the available resources as a starting point rather than the previous year's spending. Priority-based budgeting can help us make better choices and make our city better. Because a lot of cities throughout this country have used that approach. The Government Officers Finance Organization said this is a best practice. They said it themselves. I've gone to different cities and tried to help them to better spend their money. Instead of every time we have a shortfall in money, we always go back to the taxpayer. We're always either across the board cuts or we raise taxes. There's a better approach, and it's worked in several, as I said, throughout this country. Again, it's the Government Finance Officers Association's best practice. Look it up. It works. Priority-based budgeting helps us. It puts the community involved. We pick up the best services, and we put the finite money into what the people in this community think are important. And that's what will make our city better. We got to look outside of the box thinking. That's what we have to. Over the years, we continue to do the same thing over and over. And I watched it. And I come up here and I present a problem and I present a solution. And this is a solution that I presented to the Riverside County Board, the Board of Supervisors years ago, and they adopt that approach. Things are a lot better than it is. We ought to stop going back to the taxpayers all the time and say, let's do something different, not a pie in the sky idea, this idea that the Government Officers Association supports. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Roy Bleckert, followed by Fred Benuelos, followed by Bob Palomares.
Expanding on the comments from Darrell Terrell, what day are any of you going to listen to people who have called the shot? Who have proposed exactly what Darrell has said, who have proposed budgets that would save 20, 30%, put more officer hours on the ground at less cost, and it got dumped by politics. And I will tell you this, that was 2015, it's on the public record, in your archives, if you do a public records request, and if you look at the videotapes of the 2015 budget, one person put a stop to it. That was Extian Gutierrez. It was because of politics. and march him right up here and stand side by side with me, and I want you to have him deny it, because he never has. Daryl explained a lot of the problems and a lot of why we don't come to the solutions that work best for everyone. As the budgets, not only of the city of Moreno Valley, our schools, our state, our federal government have expanded beyond belief, the conditions we, the people, are living under are not as good as we had before. You look at the grocery prices, you look at the gasoline prices, you look at the price of homes, you look at our public safety, which you hear time and time again. You've had the pictures I've sent you. The governor of the state of California, I'm no big fan of, gave you an executive order to clean up the vagrants. Go look at Postal Avenue of the pictures I sent you 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago. Yet, you want to run a con on us again. You ask Ms. Baca, from 1996 to today, they've used the same threat against us, against the people, to make us less safe, to put us all in peril, to make us make choices we should not have to make. When does it stop? One vote can stop this on the ballot. We'll see if somebody has the guts enough to do it.
The next three speakers are Fred Banuelos, followed by Bob Palomares, followed by Luis Palomares.
Hello, everyone. So, got this? You need my input? Here I am. Prop 47, people voted for it. Well, now we have a prop to take that to reform it. So, yeah, the people voted for it, but I think people are getting educated and knowing that, they can change things. One of the things that's on here, it says state takeaways of local funds. Years of that. This has been going on for a long time, and yet we're the ones that are getting punished here in the city of the Moreno Valley, because now you're asking for this 1 cent sales tax when we're already paying enough taxes already for our law enforcement. With our roads, our VLF funds were supposed to fix our roads years ago, and that money was used for other things, and then they passed SB 1 to fix our roads. And then yet we're using that money for green paint, for Juan Bautista. We need to use that money where we need it the most right now. And it's hard for me to live in California. I'm reevaluating it whether I want to stay in California. And with all these taxes, it's just getting really hard to do that. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the deputies that are here, you guys know I support law enforcement 100%. But you're going to want me here to support you, to have your back. For me to live here, I need to be able to live here. These taxes are just killing me. Moreno Valley, the Unified School District, they want to pass a bond. And, it's just hard to live here. So going back to this takeaway of local funds, who's in the majority right now? Who's the supermajority? Who are the people that you're electing to do this to us? I'm going to tell you right now, I try not to be political. I told you I didn't want to be that way. But Democrats, you're doing this to our state. You're doing this to Moreno Valley First. I came in here wanting to be Moreno Valley First to make this better. And I'm about to the point where I'm going to bail. My son lives in Arkansas. He just moved out there, got a new build. Our son lives in Nevada. It's just getting really tough to live here. And I don't know what else to say, you guys. I mean, again, Roy and I have our channels. We're going to put as much information to educate the public on these things. And again, public voted for it, yeah. but they also voted for Prop 47, and now we're trying to get that changed, reform with Prop 36. Thank you.
Our next two speakers are Bob Palomares, followed by Luis Palomares.
Ed, you said that we're just revising this or it's coming back from 21, but times have changed. We're not in 21 anymore. We're worse off now. You know, and to put this on people's back with all the other bonds, you know, it's like nobody gives a damn about the working guy. You know, there's people that, if all these bonds were to pass, now the homeless problem is even worse. That's what's going to happen. You heard Mr. Amor mention that if he was dealing with evictions, so that's going to increase. You know, all these bonds. Look, since 2019, $24 billion for the homeless. Ain't got a damn thing to show for it. Very little. Divided by $24 billion divided by 180,000 homeless people in this state, and see what you come out with. And there's nothing to show for it. You know, that's a disgrace. And it's a disgrace because the elected officials, I guess it doesn't bother them. They're doing all right. They got their gas cards and whatever else you get. You know, you haven't collected anything and the city is still standing. So, you know, you should put this to bed. But I guess you're all prefixed that you're going to go for it. You know, the hell with the people. Thank you.
The next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Well, I'm disgusted. I mean, it's only a penny, but still, it's the principle of the thing. Like I said, they're pennying us and diming us to death here. I mean, there's all these propositions, California, propositions, the state of California, the state this, that, bonds everywhere. I mean, it's a shame. You know, if we would have passed Prologis, again, here I go, a year later, if we would have passed it, we would have had $30 million. $30 million, plus all what they were going to give us. You know, diamonds and baseball diamonds, team posts, they were going to mow the lawn, water it, soccer fields, money for the school district, money for the city. I don't know. What the hell was wrong with you people? I don't get it. I'm still stuck there. I can't, you know, the staff did their job trying to make it happen. The staff is always trying to make things happen, but here we are again, you know, and okay, here we go. Let's see what else I got to say here. Like I said, we got the California tax, the state tax, all these bonds and propositions. We got the utility tax that they were only going to let for a little while, and it's still here. Prologis, the 666 people, just 6 people came and talked about, we don't want it here. My forever home. Well, this is my forever home. You know, all my kids live here. Like Fred was saying, you know, him and his son, they might, you know, move out of here. But I got a whole tribe of people. There's 50 people under me in this community that bought houses here. My sons and my daughters, my nieces and my sisters and my nephews. We can't all just get up and go. Where are we going? You know, the gas, the water, everything costs. And, you know, all this Measure M, Measure G. Okay, here we go with Measure M. You know, that's a 390, and we're still going to pay a Measure M, 398 million, that bond, and we're going to extend Measure A to now. You know, they put it already on they're going to put it in the ballot. The school board passed it, you know, because they're going to use it for this and that. A bunch of baloney, you know, a bunch of baloney. They misspent our money. And then they come back and put their pockets their hands in our pockets again. Now, as far as I know you're going to say it's for safety and firemen and police and all. Well, let's be. If that's the truth, word it that way. What did you do? Yeah, word it that way. Word it just like that. And not for the pensions and a pay raise, you know, for boots on the ground. Another engine for the fire station. More firemen. That's what we need, you know. And like I said, they're taxing us to death. It doesn't end. you know? And the salaries, they're getting salaries all the way from the state to the county supervisors, to the staff here, to the school, to the staff at the school board, superintendent. They're all getting tax raises. Raises. But what the hell about us? What about we the people? And like I said, it's a penny.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Chris Baca.
Good evening. I'm confused as far as what this consists of. On one hand, it seems to me that you're asking to rescind the old one and put a new one, and so therefore the actual tax rate of what are we at, 8.5 will really not change, or are we going to go up to 9.5? I think that needs to be clarified. I may be wrong, but that's what I'm reading, that the old one is invalid, and then we reinstate it re-vote into a new one. If that's the case, then the tax is not going up, then there shouldn't be a problem. It's an administrative problem. And, but I guess the voter has to vote on that. But I think that needs to be clarified if I'm right, but if I'm wrong, never mind.
The next speaker is David Carlson.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I sure love my city. And one of the things that I was impressed with at the State of the City address is 13 years with a balanced budget that we've been functioning that way. And I'm a real simple person. When I see something go on the ballot that passed, but now we have to rewrite it to make it to pass. You know what I look at this as? I'm a God-fearing man. God protected our city from this 1% tax. We're taxed enough. Just don't pass it, and let's move on. Work within our budget. We've got great business managers in our city that can handle this. I'm supportive of law enforcement. That's where all our money needs to go, and to keep it safe. But it's not time to put another tax on our citizens. Thank you.
Do we have any further requests to speak on this item?
That concludes public comment.
Thank you very much. And that brings us back to the dais for council deliberation. And I saw a couple hands just a second ago. Would any council members like to make any comments?
Yeah. Did they not? Yeah. Well, I'll start. But Brian, could you clarify whether or not it's 8% or it's 7.75%? Can you clarify that, please?
Yes, our current city sales tax rate is 7.75%. The 1 cent, as stated by the city attorney in 2021, was never implemented by CDTFA. So what would have been 8.75 was never implemented. So we are currently at 7.75.
Thank you. So I understand. I hear everyone's concerns because everyone is out here going through death taxes and bonds. So I'm just going to put it plain and simple. We're putting it before the voters. The voters cannot vote for it. Like it's really that simple. They cannot reauthorize it. And this is, you guys, in one respect, you're talking to us like we're making the decision that it's a done deal. And the other respect, I'm looking at you guys like it's going back out to the voters to make a decision on it, which is how all taxes, as far as I'm concerned, should be dealt with. If they're going to raise taxes, they're going to do something that have to do with taxes and bonds, go out to the voters. It's up to us as the public to educate voters. You don't have to agree.
If we could please be respectful in the public.
But it's up to us to educate the voters. I keep hearing everyone talking about Prop 47 and then having to redo it to Prop 36. Well, this is your time to go out and educate the voters. You don't ever have to agree with it. But for me personally, I would rather have this put in front of the voters for the voters to make a decision than for us to make a decision and take the voters out of it. Because it's part of representational government. So that's where I'm out on that. Like we can argue about this all day. I've heard everyone's arguments. It's back before the voters. Vote it up, vote it down.
And I believe there was another request from District 1.
What is the tax rate in Riverside, the city of Riverside? They're at the 875, right?
Yes, what I would say is, to answer your question, yes, the average sales tax in Southern California is 8.65%. In the western Riverside County, the average sales tax is 8.31%, and which means that 10 out of the 18 cities that make up the western Riverside counties have a sales tax rate of 8.75%. Ours is still at 7.75%.
Okay, and so then a yes vote tonight from up here would give voters the choice of increasing or keeping or not accepting what they chose in 2021, right?
Yeah, so basically a yes vote tonight authorizes and approves the resolution that has an embedded ordinance that would actually go to the Registrar of Voters by August 9th and would be placed on the ballot in the consolidated election November 5th.
Okay, but we would not be approving it tonight. That would be up to them, put in the voters' hands, and not a decision that we're imposing on them, right?
Yes, to clarify, you would be approving the resolution to get it to the RV, to get it on the ballot.
And then we all go to the box and decide.
The voters would all then vote on their specific ballots, and it would be the will of the voters when it's tabulated by the Registrar of Voters.
No more questions, thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Delgado.
Sorry, but I'm not going to belabor this. I have the tax rates in the entire state of California, and most of them are either 9.875 or 10.25. So ours right now is 7.75. We add 1, and that's 8.75, which is still lower than most. And I agree with you guys. I'm a resident in Moreno Valley too. I have a family that I'm trying to support. I'm on a fixed income now. I know it sounds old to say, but I am on a fixed income, so it does matter to me. But when I look at this, I agree with Mayor Pro Tem that I think that just like any democratic process, we should allow the voters to tell us, this dais, that that's not what we want in the city of Moreno Valley. I get it. We have the power to not put it on. But then I think that we take the power away from the people. If they don't want it, then we won't get it. And so what's the reward? The reward is, just like Ms. Palomares said, as far as the public safety stuff, yes, we do need to be transparent. And if we're telling the public we're going to buy a squad or a couple motors or a new canine or whatever it is, then we need to be transparent when that time comes and let it all out there. Because if I agree with you too, that we do have some very responsible folks running our city, and we've balanced the budget 13 years in a row. And yes, Bob did say we've balanced our budget 13 years in a row, so why add this? We can continue to balance our budget, but we need more. And like somebody else said, times are different. Things are way more expensive. So the monies that we're collecting now may not be enough to get what we want for future public safety. So that's, I mean, I'm not for taxes. I'm not like this guy that just tax everybody. And I think Roy mentioned that if we make them, or somebody mentioned that if we make a mistake in our city, put it back on the taxpayers and let them figure it out. That's not what we're doing. That's literally not what we're doing. We're not bad with our money. These guys are balancing our budget over and over and over. So it's not that we're fiscally irresponsible. It's that we want more. And we just need some help from the residents of Moreno Valley. And if they don't want it, then we will be fine. And we will be okay with minus the new stuff for public safety. So,
Mayor, do you mind if I make one comment as a follow-up?
Sure thing.
So, Councilmember Delgado, to additionally add that list that you were stating, that list of all of the sales tax rates across the entire state for every jurisdiction. There's 483 jurisdictions within the state of California. So any jurisdiction that is over the 775, which is the minimum Bradley Burns rate, means that those jurisdictions went out, asked their voters to do a transaction and use tax ballot measure. Exactly what we're doing. All of those rates above 775 are legislatively with the local jurisdiction. They're legislatively protected by the state legislator. So state legislation and anything that the state does, they cannot take away that 1%, the 2%, all of those additional percents above 775. All that money stays local. And that's the reason why over decades of time, jurisdictions have done this, is because it's the only way that we have jurisdiction control, and we are protected from state takeaways for these specific percent that would be here local.
Thank you, Brian. And I don't see any other hands raised at the moment. I don't mean to belabor the point because my colleagues already hit all of the points, right? They already hit the nail on the head. But at the end of the day, we are making a decision here to give the people the power to make a decision. We're deciding here to put the question on the ballot so that Moreno Valley voters, all of you at home, can decide whether or not you approve or disapprove of this particular measure. So we're giving you the opportunity to decide and make that choice in November. So with that, I'll entertain a motion from the council as well as a second.
So moved to motion staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please call for the vote. And that passes unanimously with 4 yeses as well. That brings us next to item L, and we don't have any regional reports. Those will be given at our next council meeting on August 20th. For item M, don't believe we do not have an employee association report this evening. That brings us to the city managers, the famous city managers report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. I'm going to keep it very short. Just first of all, welcome back. And I know you're going to be sharing a lot of the things that happened this past month. We're really, really busy this past month. But also, I know some of you want to make it out to the National Night Out, which is running right now. So it's at Celebration Park. You can still probably catch the last hour and a half. So I'm going to keep my discussion very, very short tonight. So hopefully some of you could make it to National Night Out. Our police chief's out there waiting for you guys too. So a lot of residents are at home. It's at Celebration Park. Go out there, join us. There's a lot of activity out there. There's a lot of giveaways out there, and there's a lot of really, really cool public safety equipment out there right now. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. That brings us to council closing comments, if desired, and we'll start off with Councilmember Banca Santa Cruz.
Thank you. Good evening. I did make it out to National Night Out this afternoon. It is a fun event. The chief is out there, so thank you for sitting in for her. And I even got to throw a ball at the dunk tank, so I hope you guys make it out there tonight. I'll be quick. I did spend the month a lot in City Hall. Like I said, I was going to before the break. I've spent my Fridays here, and I did get to go and do a lot. For example, I toured our city yard. A lot of good work there, some expansions, new energy, electric vehicles out there. We've doing a lot out there. I learned a lot about what we're doing throughout the yard. A lot of the employees that are over there have been with the city with a long time, so we have a lot going on over at the city yard. That's their home base, but they're throughout the city. I also toured the senior center. I really enjoyed the seeing all the classes and participants that are there, the Senior Eats program, as well as the Dial-A-Ride, bringing them over to that cooling center. And it's, with the summer being so hot, it is having a lot of use. So, and they're excited about the expansion. So we got to share about that. We, of course, had our 4th of July parade and the Fun Fest. Spectacular event. I'm sure a lot of you came to see it because the streets were lined, as well as on the YouTube channel. I also went to the senior center and we celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Bid Whist class. So we had a couple who have been holding a card playing game for 10 years in our senior center. So it was a joy to spend some time learning about the game and about their dedication to the city. I also toured the Burke, one of our summer school sites, as well as attended the Jamil Dada Character Excellence Awards. Met with residents. We opened up the Juan Bautista Trail, and we also had some events to celebrate our employee appreciation here at City Hall. I met with our new chief, and as mentioned before, we did get to do our State of the City. So if you haven't watched it yet, please watch it on YouTube. And also, thank you to everybody who came out to our summer programming of Movell Rocks and the Movell movies in the park. And that will conclude my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Delgado.
I stayed very busy during the break, and I'm going to reserve all what I did for the next meeting so we can get out there. So,
Thank you. Next up, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
I'm going to keep mine very short. To the parents, they go back next week. Moreno Valley Unified, Valverde Unified. I've never been so excited. All the kids start next week, so everybody please slow down, be mindful. School is going to be busy the first few days. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Be aware of what time they're getting out of school. Please slow down. I know officers will be out there, and I know the tickets are pretty hefty for flying by the schools. I also went to the Destiny Care Foundation gala that they had, and that was a very nice event. They provide a lot of services to our community out here for the older population and hospice care, so that was a nice event to go to. And watch our State of the City if you have not watched it. But thank you all, and stay safe, stay hydrated. We've got a few more months of this heat coming up, so please stay hydrated. Keep water on you. Do not faint. Thank you.
Thank you. First, want to give it up to our public safety personnel, especially right now during wildfire season. Our fire personnel has been doing an amazing job, making sure that Moreno Valley is taken care of. So hats off to all of you for the amazing work out there. Thank you so much for all you're doing out there. You're staying very busy, but we really appreciate it. State of the City just passed. Thank you to our staff for making that amazing as always. And, every year you guys somehow manage to top it. So great job there. And thank you to my colleagues on the council as well for making it a success. Want to briefly touch on Proposition 1. I'll talk more about this in the next meeting, but Proposition 1 did pass earlier this year by the voters, and that results in significant funding that will become available and is becoming available for mental health services and homelessness. One of the requirements, per se, is that the county, which we are in Riverside County, any particular county needs to support any applications that are going to request funding for Proposition 1. So I am requesting meetings with our county supervisors so that we can collaborate and make sure that we're pursuing those funds, because we know, we see it out in the community that we need to do more to address homelessness in our community. So that's something that I'll be working on. Hopefully all of us up here on the dais can figure out what that path forward is going to look like. Also during the summer, I was able to host with the Latino Caucus for the League of California Cities our first Inland Empire event, which went great over at the Cheech Museum. And the highlight of it was that we were able to award 5 scholarships worth $2,000 apiece to Moreno Valley College students who are transferring to UC Riverside. So I just really appreciate the Latino Caucus, the Legislative Latino Caucus, and all of our partners who made that possible. Also was able to attend the MVC Innovation Center grand reopening at MVC, the Jamil Dada Character Excellence Awards, Just this past weekend on Saturday, I worked with several nonprofits and organizations to host our second annual backpack giveaway at the Moreno Valley Mall. We were able to give out over 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies. So thank you to everybody that helped us and everybody that joined us. There is another backpack giveaway happening tomorrow at the Moreno Valley Community Health Systems location right down the street here from City Hall at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the address is 22675 Alessandro Boulevard. Again, this is happening tomorrow, Wednesday, August 7th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the address is 22675 Alessandro Boulevard. We're having another backpack giveaway tomorrow, and we'll hope to see you out there. And last but not least, next week we have an event for the official beginning of construction for the city's 4th library. Super excited about that. That's going to be coming to Councilmember Delgado's district up in Sunnymead Ranch. So looking forward to that. So with that, we'll go ahead and close today's meeting. We'll adjourn at 7:16, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.